So I'm just going to get right into it on this video. Today's video is going to be all about diving deeper into authentic sharing. You know, it's like kind of like, I guess like say Facebook for instance, or even YouTube for that matter. That's one of them things that's always started to bug me about it over time is, everybody's sharing on there is filtered. Everybody's sharing on there is filtered. You go on there and you share all your niceness and all the lovely aspects of your world or what you're happy about that day or anything like that. But there's so much more to us than that, isn't there? There's so much of our authenticity that gets held back from most of the world. It's like we put on the part of us that we want to share. And I've experimented with this on Facebook. Usually I'm sharing some kind of what I consider to be profound wisdom that came through to me or whatever, and um, start to develop this really nice reputation on there. Oh, Joey's nice, he's wise, he's a kind person, this and that. And so I specifically went on there to share the exact opposite of that. I was having a very 3D day, just having a rough time with my little kids, right? And kind of getting frustrated with them and stuff. And so I went ahead and posted about that. Nothing, not a like, not a shocked face, no nothing, right? And it was nice to see humanity waking up. That was like 2 years ago, and how it comes up in the memories. So I shared it again last year and got a lot more likes. It's like, okay, people are starting to understand. They're starting to understand, to integrate their shadows more. I thought that was really funny. I just wanted to see who out there was really into authentic sharing or not. You know what I mean? Because it's a lie. It's a lie that everything is ever all goodness and niceness. That's not a dualistic world. That's not polarity. If everything was only nice, we wouldn't know what nice was, right? You wouldn't have any way to discern it from other things. So, anyways, I'm gonna do a little bit of raw sharing and a little bit of stuff I was writing this morning to kind of go with this. Um, this is about kind of where we're at as a collective with this awakening process. I feel like it's happening on a personal level. Synchronicities come out when we share our stuff with each other. So I decided to come on and share the stages I'm going through with this. Like, it starts out, you want to be all love and light. You try and you try and you try. Like, say, for me, I was like on the Buddhist path. You're like, I'm not going to have any ill feelings or attitudes towards other things. And then you come to find out, in a sense, well, I guess you kind of grow in stages. Like, you're like, okay, so that's not entirely a reality. That doesn't encompass everything. It doesn't encompass the negative side of our experience, or what we call negative. Because that ain't even the right term for it anyways. Negative is it's a necessary quality for wholeness, I guess. Right? You don't, you only have half of it if you don't have the negative side, right? It's like a bowl. It is yin and yang. The outside part that bulges out is yang, the inside space is yin, and that's what we're calling negative, right? So it's like, well, negative is necessary for 3D reality to exist. All right, let me get into this and see what else gets triggered as I'm going, okay? So what I wrote was, a major part of this process of awakening is no longer feeling self-conscious about our projections or our emotions. That includes negative ones, okay? And don't get it mixed up. If you're not ever self-conscious on some level, you might not focus much on critical thinking. See, right there, I was trying to say it nicely. I'm saying basically there, like, if you never think about the way your expression affects the people around you, you probably don't do much critical thinking either. And if you don't, if you never work on your critical thinking, that opens you up to all kinds of things like propaganda. It opens us up to accepting lies as truth. It how do you say, whoever has the most charisma is who you're going to listen to if you're not being a critical thinker yourself. And so if you're never thinking about the way, the ripples you send out in the world around you for the way you act, well, then you're probably not really thinking about whether or not something is true that somebody else is saying. It's like how much personality they got, will attract you real quick, right? So, anyways, where was I going with this? Okay. See, some of us came into this life pretty quickly feeling confused and upset at how people are with each other. That was my experience in this lifetime, and that's part of what this is about to me. Like I said in my last video, there's so much I've gone through leading up to this that I haven't like really shared on here yet. That's why it gets kind of confusing probably for people that haven't like quite gone there yet themselves, you know? But this is a whole lifetime of feeling different. I'll tell you all kinds of crazy things today. I'll tell you things like that just didn't fit into my cultural paradigm. Yeah, the social paradigms, right? Like when I was a little kid, I used to see. That's not even the right word for it. It's hard to explain that to somebody else. I used to perceive other dimensions that are just next to ours, kind of superimposed with ours sometimes. In my house, right? When I was a kid, I used to hear voices. You know, let's see, what else is there? Gosh, there's so much to say. Like at this point, I've unfolded my path far enough to find out that in past lives, I've been an elemental wizard. I still am this lifetime. That's part of what's kept me feeling at odds with the world, feeling out of place in this world for my entire life. It's time to stop hiding that truth, you know, because we need to pave the way for the world to be able to change, for us to express the truth of what we're knowing. This kind of ties into that in a sense. You kind of think of it's like you kind of think of the global elites as like working from good marketing strategy. You know, if you want to think about the way they mentally keep hold of this world, you know, it's through marketing strategies. You know, so you really have to be a critical thinker and get in touch with your inner knowing. And that's what I was meaning. Like I came into this world. I'm a wizard. I've been hiding it from even myself largely for this entire lifetime because consciously there's a part of me that knows you can't really just go around, you know, it's been that way up until now. You can't just go around expressing that truth to just anybody, you know, they're not going to understand. So kind of, I guess, social standards keeps us from sharing all of our authenticity, you know. But the more this path unfolds, things are building up. They feel like they're coming to a head of pressure and release, you know, where we have to step into our roles. Many of us came to help shift this world this go round, and everybody, you could think of that as like a far-fetched idea, but it's already happened before. It's happened several times. Otherwise things would always stay the same. We wouldn't have this rich history of different time periods like the golden age and such. Life is an up and down wave, right? And so it's like you go from, like, on all levels this works. It's multidimensional in the long view of time, like multiple lifetimes in this lifetime and during this lifetime. It's all just different frequencies of up and down waves, basically, right? Going from knowing to not knowing. And it's so funny because it's like the not knowing is what inspires us to go back towards the knowing, and the knowing, it's like, you know um presents a different type of limitation on our reality. You're like, well, now I know everything, and it's not very exciting anymore. So you go back down, you go back up, you go back down. And of course, this is a spiral pattern too. So you always get to know yourself more and more deeply when you ride the up and down waves, okay? Kind of what I was getting at with that whole marketing strategy thing. So check it out. It's like I said a couple of years ago in my videos that the availability of balance between masculine and feminine is back on our planet, So divine feminine is coming back into her place of power in the world. Right around that time was when next thing you know, you're hearing the government calling this terrorist organization ISIS. Okay, so then there's, like, say, the New Age movement. The New Age movement has got this bad stigma on it at this point. It's associated with false light. It's associated, with this kind of foofy, how you say, suppression of the shadow. Just like being like, no, you just have to be all love and kindness, and that's, that'll fix everything. So it gives everybody this bad taste in their mouth, like that's not reality, okay? But the fact of the matter is, it is a new age, and it is a new chance for people to take back control of their minds, right? That's what I was meaning. Like, it's so funny. There's this little part of myself that is growing now into that awareness of knowing that I'm a wizard. Um, I've been working with dragon energy for the last couple of years and finding out more and more little synchronicities about that. The place that I found my most recent synchronicities that are giving me crowning jewels. And I guess this is why I say we really have to share and not care what anybody thinks, in a sense, you know? Is giving me some crowning jewel synchronicities on stuff I've been studying for like 20 years. And it's so interesting, this guy. This guy's name is Bro Sanchez. He's been doing a ton of great work on YouTube, okay? He's got like all the different little veins of study I've looked at, all the different heads of the Hydra. He's got all the information all in one place and lays it out in really simple terms with symbolism. He doesn't just talk all nice and friendly like, you know what I mean? When he's passionate about something, you know it. This is just an important part of sharing. But the most interesting part to me, this part blew my little mind, because, you know, we all have our limits, right? Of accepting ridiculousness or how far-fetched an idea is or not. The more I trust in my intuitive side, the more I get confirmation about what was even on the border about myself, about being like, I feel like this is so, but it seems ridiculous on some level. You know what I mean? People are going to hear that as ridiculous. Can I really say that without feeling embarrassed? You know? So I guess this is, you know, I could feel the nerves in here right now, just even wanting to talk about it. But this man has so much truth on his videos, and I'm taking it in, and I'm like, whoa, he's like bringing stuff together that, you know, I knew I was like, I'll have to accept this as a gray area for now, because I don't have a final answer on it. Some of that kind of stuff would be like, you start learning that you're a magical being, that you've been and done things in previous lives that most people, you know, I'm a witch. I'm gonna say that right now. And I'm not gonna be ashamed to say that anymore. And it's not okay to be, you know, to be ashamed of that anymore. It's not okay to be shaming people about their truths anymore. I see I totally got off subject with that, but that's another thing I wanted to share on this video this morning. In the most literal sense, part of the reason for the demonization of witches and stuff was because they were the original pharmacists. And now Big Pharma wants all that money for themselves, you know? They wanted to be able to synthetically manufacture everything that, excuse me, that Mother Nature already has for us, right? And so it's like, you know, systematically wiping out that knowledge all over the world and demonizing those that would still promote it, you know. And sure there was some of this going on in the world, but it's like not all natural cures are snake oil, okay? That was probably a propaganda campaign to slowly make that switch over, you know, from the old world to the new world, where they have more control over the money, you know, over the people's health and all that stuff. But anyways, back to the subject I was talking about. So, I just, you know, he really inspired me saying that the other day. This man, Bro Sanchez, he brings so much truth. And I'm digging into his videos, and I find out he's a flat earther. And I was like, can I really go there? That one, it's just, even for me, that's like, whoa, you know what I mean? But he lays it down, and there's no denying it when you really start to think about it. That's what I was talking about with the powers that be, the information controllers. They're experts in marketing. You have to understand that from the get-go. You know, it's like, okay, this is talking about going from conspiracy theorist to conspiracy knower, you know? That term, theorist, it always relegates your beliefs, or your understanding is just a theory. It's just a theory, and it's never going to be the truth, okay? So, so I thought it was, yeah, it's like the way they get us to limit ourselves, they could hide something like the earth being flat from us. They really fucking could, because we're that gullible sometimes. We're like, you know, who wants to be on the minority and look crazy, you know? That's how they get us to do it. That's how they get us to do it. Come on, that's a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? You're like, you don't want to be one of those crazy people who's stupid enough to fall for the earth being flat, you know? You know, just because all of us were taught the same stuff in school, all of our peers, and they are probably going to talk shit if you say something like that, you know what I mean? But it's funny because it's like if you're already on this side of the fence where you understand that they lie to us all the time to manipulate us emotionally, what's to say that the shape of the earth is sacred? Why wouldn't they go there too? You know what I mean? You got to look at it from that point of view. Like, if they're willing to go so far and you're willing to say that you believe that they go that far, then why not, you know, be open to the idea that they could go there too? Basically, is what I'm getting at there, you know? I mean, let's see what was. I just had another thought coming through about that. Yeah, you know, just. See, now I got all nervous and my thoughts be shut down. That's what I've been. Part of why I've been making these is so I just get used to speaking my truth, not being afraid to anymore, and letting it flow in the moment. I can write and write and write, and it comes out beautifully. You know what I mean? But I want to be able to have it in real time. You know, even when I'm on the spot. You know, but I keep switching it back and forth all over the place. So, anyways, though, but yeah, it was kind of funny. First of all, you know, I kept on watching and was curious with this guy because I'm like, well, he's bringing so much truth, and they all seem to be, you know, not all, but it seems to be able to be tied back into that big lie that's kept a veil over us for so long. It's funny because there's so many beautiful examples in this man's videos, um, how it affects us on a mental, emotional level, the science that we adhere to. And it's funny because it's like true science to me would be coming from that mindset that I believe this theory, I'm searching out to confirm whether or not it's true. If I found out it's not true, I'm going to let it go and feel thankful that I got the truth instead of dogmatically holding on to a theory I came up with, you know? Um, and so it's like a lot of what we've been fed in school is just theories that they can't exactly prove yet. And so, you know, that's not true science. That's not true science. That's still religion being marketed as secular science, and it's not. Um, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to cut it there for now because I want everything to flow out authentically. And when more comes out, it'll come out. And I'll make more videos. Maybe they'll be really short or really long.